Commander Alan Grant stood before the viewport of the Starship Eagle, staring at the massive alien vessel that floated in the darkness of space. The Zarnaxian diplomatic ship was twice the size of their own, its surface gleaming with a metallic, blue sheen that seemed to change color as it caught the light of the distant sun. "Everyone ready?" Alan asked, turning to face his team. Lieutenant Kate Morris nodded as she checked the special carrier at her feet. Inside, her orange tabby cat Whiskers meowed softly, curious about the strange surroundings. "Are you sure bringing Whiskers was a good idea?" asked Officer Ben Clark, eyeing the cat carrier with doubt. Kate smiled. The mission brief said to bring elements of Earth culture. Pets are a huge part of human life. Besides, Ambassador Chen approved it. Alan straightened his blue uniform and took a deep breath. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Zarnaxian Confederation, a spacefaring civilization that had reached out to Earth 6 months ago. The aliens had classified Earth as what they called a Class 5 Deathworld, which had confused the human diplomats until they understood the Zarnaxian perspective. "Remember," Alan said to his 5-person team, "the Zarnaxians evolved on a world with almost no natural threats. No big storms, no earthquakes, few predators, and stable weather. To them, Earth is an extreme environment." Dr. Susan Clark, the mission's medical expert, laughed softly. "And yet here we are, not just surviving but thriving and reaching for the stars. That's why they're interested in us," Alan replied. "They want to know how we managed it." The ship's computer announced that docking procedures were complete. Alan led his team toward the airlock, their footsteps echoing on the metal floor. Kate picked up the cat carrier, earning a small meow of protest from Whiskers. As the airlock hissed open, they got their first in-person look at a Zarnaxian. Ambassador Zixivor stood just over 5 feet tall, with smooth green-gray skin that reminded Alan of a lizard. The alien had large golden eyes with vertical pupils and a lean body built for efficiency rather than strength. Behind the ambassador stood 4 other Zarnaxians, each wearing what appeared to be some kind of ceremonial robe marked with different colored symbols. "Commander Grant," the alien said in perfect English, its voice surprisingly deep. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Harmony. We are honored by your presence." Alan stepped forward and gave the greeting they had practiced. "The people of Earth thank you for this opportunity, Ambassador Zixivor. We hope this meeting begins a lasting friendship between our worlds." The ambassador's eyes moved over the human delegation, pausing briefly on the cat carrier. A slight tilt of its head suggested curiosity, but it said nothing about it. "Please follow me to the conference room. We have much to discuss about your remarkable world." As they walked through the alien ship, Kate noticed how different it was from human vessels. Everything was designed with smooth curves rather than hard angles. The lighting was soft and slightly blue-tinted, and the air felt drier than what humans were used to. In the conference room, the walls displayed moving images of what had to be the Zarnaxian homeworld. Alan saw landscapes with gentle rolling, hills, shallow seas with hardly any waves, and skies that were clear and calm. "Your Earth," Ambassador Zixivor said as they all took their seats, "is quite fascinating to us. Few intelligent species evolve on worlds as hostile as yours." "Hostile?" Ben asked, looking confused. "What you consider normal, we consider extreme," the ambassador explained. "Your powerful gravity, your violent weather systems, your shifting tectonic plates, your numerous predatory species, even your microscopic organisms that cause disease. By our classification system, Earth is among the most dangerous inhabited planets we have encountered." Kate glanced down at the cat carrier by her feet, suddenly understanding why she had been allowed to bring Whiskers along. The Zarnaxians had no idea what they were about to learn about humanity and their relationship with Earth's creatures, and she couldn't wait to show them. Ambassador Zixivor activated a display in the center of the conference table. A holographic image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly to show its blue oceans and green-brown continents. "Your planet experiences over 500,000 earthquakes each year," the ambassador said. "You have storms that can destroy entire cities. Your oceans have waves that can reach over 30 meters high. And your wildlife." The alien paused, its golden eyes widening slightly. Over 500 species of predators that could easily kill a being of your size. Alan nodded. We've learned to adapt. We build stronger buildings, create warning systems for storms, and generally stay away from dangerous animals. Yet you still lose thousands of your kind each year to these dangers. Another Zarnaxian noted. This one wore a dark blue robe with silver symbols. Our records show deaths from what you call natural disasters alone number in the tens of thousands annually. Kate leaned forward. That's true, but Earth has over 8 billion people. Most of us live our entire lives without facing direct danger from these threats. The Zarnaxians exchanged looks that seemed to suggest disbelief. We find it remarkable, Ambassador Zixfor said, that beings as physically vulnerable as yourselves survived to develop technology. Our own world has almost no natural predators larger than what you would call a small dog. We have no significant tectonic activity. Our weather patterns are stable and mild, and our gravity is 30% less than Earth's. Dr. Susan Clark smiled. That explains your body structure. You evolved for efficiency rather than durability. Precisely, the ambassador agreed. We developed intelligence as our primary survival trait because our environment required little else. Ben Clark, who had been quiet until now, asked, So what exactly makes a planet a Deathworld in your classification? Ambassador Zixfor touched the holographic display, and the image changed to show a chart with various planetary types. We classify inhabited worlds from Class 1 to Class 5 based on environmental hazards. Class 1 worlds like our home planet are stable and safe. Class 5 worlds like Earth are at the extreme end of the spectrum, planets where the environment itself presents constant threats to survival. The ambassador continued, What makes humans particularly interesting to us is that most species from harsh worlds develop physical adaptations. Armored skin, multiple limbs, redundant organs. But you remained relatively fragile physically while developing remarkable neurological adaptations instead. Alan nodded thoughtfully. We solved problems with our minds rather than our bodies. And you did so with remarkable speed, added another, Zarnaxian, this one in a green robe. Your technological development has been exponentially faster than most species we've encountered. Kate looked down at the cat carrier by her feet. Whiskers had settled down and was sleeping peacefully. She wondered what the Zarnaxians would think when they learned more about Earth's animals, especially the ones humans kept close. Ambassador, she said, you mentioned you have few predators on your world. How do Zarnaxians view dangerous animals? The ambassador's vertical pupils narrowed slightly. We avoid them, of course. On the rare occasions when dangerous creatures are discovered, they are studied from a safe distance, then relocated to isolated preserves. And you never keep them close? For research or other purposes? Kate pressed. Keep them close? The ambassador seemed genuinely confused. Why would any rational being keep a dangerous creature nearby? Alan noticed Kate's smile and realized what she was getting at. He decided to help move things along. Ambassador, Zixfor, part of our mission here is cultural exchange. Lieutenant Morris has brought something that represents an important aspect of human culture. With your permission, we'd like to share it with you. The ambassador looked curious. Yes, I noticed your lieutenant brought a container aboard. We detected a life form inside but assumed it was some kind of plant specimen. Is it something else? Kate placed her hand on top of the carrier. This is what we call a pet. Specifically, this is Whiskers, my cat. Pet? The word seemed unfamiliar to the translator. What is the function of this pet? Kate smiled wider. Perhaps it would be easier to show you. Kate knelt down and opened the front of the carrier. She reached inside and gently lifted Whiskers out. The orange tabby cat stretched, yawned, and looked around the room with curious green eyes. This is a cat, Kate explained, holding Whiskers in her arms. Cats are one of the most popular pets on Earth. Millions of humans keep them in their homes. The reaction from the Zarnaxians was immediate. All 5 aliens took a step back, their golden eyes wide with alarm. You bring a predator to a diplomatic meeting? One of them asked, voice higher than before. Ambassador Zixfor had gone very still. Our scans indicate that creature has retractable claws, specialized night vision, and a bite force capable of crushing small bones. Kate tried not to smile as she stroked Whiskers, who had started purring loudly. Yes, cats are predators. Their wild ancestors hunted small animals like mice and birds. But domestic cats have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. Alan stepped in to help explain. Many Earth animals have been domesticated by humans. That means we've selectively bred them over many generations to be friendly to humans and suited to living in our homes. The Zarnaxian in the green robe had pulled out a small device and was scanning Whiskers from a safe distance. This creature has the physical capabilities to hunt and kill animals its own size or smaller. Yet you hold it against your body, without restraints. Kate nodded. Whiskers is very gentle with people. She's been with me since she was a kitten, a baby cat. She sleeps on my bed most nights. This statement caused another stir among the aliens. The one in the blue robe made a sound that might have been disbelief. You allow this predator near you while you sleep? When you are most vulnerable, Dr. Susan Clark joined the conversation. It's not just cats. Humans keep many different animals as pets. Dogs, birds, fish, reptiles, even some species that would be considered dangerous in the wild. Ambassador Zixvor had composed himself, but still kept a careful distance from Whiskers. This practice of keeping predators in your dwellings, is it common among all human cultures? Alan nodded. Pet keeping is found in virtually every human society, though the specific animals vary by region and culture. Kate gently placed Whiskers on the floor of the conference room. The cat stretched again and began to explore, sniffing curiously at the new environment. The Zarnaxians watched with a mixture of fear and fascination as the cat walked around the room. When Whiskers approached one of them, the alien quickly moved to the other side of the table. It won't hurt you, Kate assured them. Cats are actually very particular about who they attack. In the wild, they mainly hunt small prey. They know the difference between food and non-food. May I ask, Ambassador Zixvor said, watching Whiskers closely, what purpose does this creature serve? Does it perform work for you? Guard your dwelling? Kate smiled. Cats were originally kept to hunt pests like mice, but now we keep them mainly for companionship. They make us happy. Companionship? With a predator? The concept seemed completely foreign to the Zarnaxians. Nick Rivera, who had been quietly observing until now, pulled out his tablet. If you think cats are surprising, wait until you see what else humans keep as pets. He brought up a video of his golden retriever, Max, playing fetch in a park. The dog was running at full speed, powerful muscles moving under golden fur as it chased a ball. This is my dog, Max, Nick said proudly. Dogs are actually descended from wolves, pack hunters that can bring down animals much larger than themselves. The Zarnaxians stared at the video, their expressions unreadable. But their body language, the way they leaned slightly away from the screen, the tightening of their posture, spoke of shock. And this creature also lives in your dwelling? Ambassador Zixvor asked, his voice carefully controlled. Nick nodded. Max sleeps at the foot of my bed. He's great with kids, too. My nieces and nephews love playing with him. The ambassador turned to Alan. Commander Grant, I believe we need to completely reassess our understanding of human psychology. Nick's video of Max, the golden retriever, played on the large screen in the conference room. The dog was now shown playing with children, letting them climb on his back and tug at his ears. The Zarnaxians watched in silent amazement. Dogs have been with humans longer than any other animal, Nick explained. We think the first wolves approached human camps over 15,000 years ago. Over time, we selected the friendliest ones and bred them to create dogs. You deliberately bred a pack predator to live among you? Asked the Zarnaxian scientist in the green robe. Were you not concerned about your safety? Alan shook his head. The whole point was to make them safe. We specifically chose animals that showed less aggression toward humans and more willingness to cooperate. Ambassador Zixvor seemed deep in thought. So you directed their evolution. You shaped a dangerous species into something that would serve your needs. Not just serve, Kate corrected. She had picked up Whiskers again, who was now curled in her lap, purring loudly. We formed relationships with them. Most people consider their pets to be members of their family. This concept seemed to confuse the Zarnaxians even more. The ambassador's vertical pupils widened slightly. Family? You consider these predatory animals to be kin? Dr. Susan Clark nodded. Many humans speak to their pets as if they were children. They buy them special food, toys, beds. Some people even celebrate their pets' birthdays. Nick scrolled through more pictures on his tablet. Here's Max when he was a puppy. We have photos of him throughout his life, just like we would for a human child. The Zarnaxian in the blue robe moved closer to look at the puppy pictures. This is the juvenile form? It appears even more defenseless than your young. That's part of why we connect with them, Nick said. Puppies and kittens need our care. They depend on us. That creates a bond. Ben, who had been quiet, added, Dogs have also been working animals for most of human history. They've helped us hunt, guard our homes, herd other animals, find people lost in disasters, and even help people with disabilities. Ambassador Zixvor turned to Alan. Commander Grant, this relationship your species has with Earth's predators is unlike anything we've encountered. On our world, any animal with the capabilities of these pets would be considered a serious danger, to be avoided at all costs. Alan smiled. That's what makes Earth different, isn't it? We evolved alongside these animals. We learned to understand them, and they learned to understand us. The ambassador looked at Whiskers, who was now cleaning her paw with her tongue. May I observe more closely? Kate nodded encouragingly. You can even pet her if you want. Just move slowly. The ambassador approached carefully and crouched down to look at the cat. Whiskers paused her grooming and stared back with curious green eyes. The claws. Can they be extended at will? The ambassador asked. As if on cue, Whiskers stretched out, one paw, briefly showing her sharp claws before retracting them again. The ambassador made a sound that might have been amazement. And humans allow these weapons near their vital organs? Kate laughed softly. We trust them not to hurt us, and they trust us too. That's what makes the relationship special. Nick played another video on the screen. This one showed different breeds of dogs, a tiny Chihuahua, a massive Great Dane, a fluffy Samoyed, and a sleek Greyhound. Dogs come in hundreds of different breeds, he explained. Humans created all these varieties from the same wolf ancestors. The Zarnaxians stared at the screen in disbelief. The size difference between the smallest and largest is remarkable, said one. How can they be the same species? Selective breeding, Dr. Clark explained. Over thousands of years, we chose dogs with specific traits we wanted. Size, behavior, appearance, and bred them to create these different types. Ambassador Zixvor seemed impressed. You did not merely tame these creatures. You reshaped them according to your will. Alan nodded. Humans have a long history of changing our environment to suit our needs. That includes the animals we share our lives with. The ambassador turned to his fellow Zarnaxians and spoke in their language for the first time since the meeting began. The sounds were like flowing water mixed with clicks. After a brief discussion, he turned back to the humans. Commander Grant, we would like to learn more about humanity's relationship with Earth's creatures. Our understanding of your species was clearly incomplete. Alan suggested they move to a larger meeting room where he could share more information about Earth's wildlife. The Zarnaxians agreed eagerly, their initial fear now replaced by scientific curiosity. In the new room, Lisa Wong, the security chief, who had been quiet until now, set up a holographic display. She had prepared a presentation about Earth's animals for the diplomatic mission. Commander Grant mentioned that you might be interested in learning about our wildlife, Lisa said to the Zarnaxians. I thought you might like to see some of the animals we keep in our zoos. Zoos? Ambassador Zixvor repeated the unfamiliar word. Places where we keep and display wild animals, Lisa explained, for education, conservation, and yes, entertainment. The first image appeared in the center of the room, a massive African elephant standing beside a small human figure for scale. This is an elephant, Lisa said. one of the largest land animals on Earth. They can weigh up to 6,000 kilograms. The Zarnaxians stared in amazement. The ambassador's vertical pupils widened. "And humans captured this creature?" he asked. In disbelief, Lisa nodded. "We have several elephant species in zoos around the world, but we also work to protect wild elephants in their natural habitats." She changed the image to show a lion. The big cat was lying on a rock, its powerful muscles visible even at rest. "This is a lion, one of our apex predators. They hunt in groups called prides and can bring down animals much larger than themselves." The Zarnaxian in the blue robe stepped closer to the hologram. The teeth and claws appeared designed for maximum killing efficiency. "Yes," Lisa agreed. "Lions are perfectly evolved hunters. Yet we keep them in zoos where people can observe them safely." She changed the image again, this time showing a massive saltwater crocodile. This predator has remained virtually unchanged for millions of years. Its bite force is the strongest of any animal on Earth. One of the Zarnaxians made a sound that might have been alarm. "And you keep these in captivity as well?" "We do," Lisa confirmed, "though we treat them with great respect and care." The next image showed something different, a group of school children watching dolphins perform at an aquarium show. These are dolphins, marine mammals that are among the most intelligent animals on Earth. They're not just kept in aquariums. Many humans swim with them in controlled environments. Ambassador Zixvor looked genuinely shocked. "Your young are allowed near such creatures?" Kate, who was still holding Whiskers, explained. "Dolphins are generally friendly toward humans. There are very few cases of dolphins hurting people, despite thousands of interactions every year." Lisa continued the presentation, showing images of zoos, wildlife parks, and aquariums. The Zarnaxians watched with increasing amazement as they saw children feeding giraffes, tourists riding on elephant backs, and divers swimming with sharks. "I must ask," said the ambassador, "why do humans seek such close contact with dangerous creatures? Is it not safer to observe from a distance?" Alan considered the question. "I suppose it's partly because we're curious. We want to understand these animals, to connect with them. But it's also because we respect them. Many human cultures view these powerful animals as symbols of strength and beauty." Dr. Clark added, "There's also the conservation aspect. By allowing people to see these animals up close, we create emotional connections. People are more likely to support protecting animals they've seen and perhaps even touched." The ambassador was quiet for a moment, thinking. Then he said, "On our world, we have few large animals. Those we do have are gentle herbivores. Our evolution took a different path, one with minimal conflict between species." "That explains a lot," Alan said. "Earth's history has been shaped by competition and predation. Humans evolved in an environment where danger was constant. We had to understand predators to survive." Lisa changed the image one last time, showing a small child sleeping peacefully with a large dog curled protectively around them. "This," she said softly, "is perhaps the most remarkable thing about humanity's relationship with animals. We don't just keep predators, we trust them with our most vulnerable members." The Zarnaxian stared at the image in silence. Finally, the ambassador spoke. "I believe we have much to learn from humans. Your species has not merely survived a dangerous world, you have formed alliances with its dangers." The meeting continued for another hour, with the humans answering many questions about Earth's animals. As they were preparing to take a break, Paul Lee, the science officer, suddenly sneezed loudly. "Excuse me," Paul said, rubbing his nose. "I think I'm allergic to something on the ship." Ambassador Zixvor looked concerned. "Our environmental systems are carefully maintained. There should be nothing harmful in the air." Paul sneezed again. "It's probably nothing serious, just a mild allergic reaction." Dr. Susan Clark opened her medical kit and took out a small device. She ran it over Paul's arm and checked the readings. "Mild allergic response, nothing dangerous," she confirmed. "I can give you something for it." The ambassador came closer, curiosity overcoming caution. "May I ask what causes this allergic reaction?" Susan looked up from her medical kit. Different people can be allergic to different things. Dust, pollen, animal dander, certain foods. Paul might be reacting to something in your ship's air that's harmless to most humans. The Zarnaxian scientist in the green robe approached with a scanning device of his own. With your permission, I would like to examine Officer Lee. Paul nodded, and the Zarnaxian ran the scanner over him. The alien's eyes widened as he studied the readings. This is remarkable, the scientist said. Your body is fighting against harmless particles as if they were dangerous invaders. That's exactly what an allergy is, Susan explained. The immune system overreacts to something that isn't actually a threat. The scientist continued scanning. Your immune system is fascinating. It appears to be in a constant state of activity, even when there is no clear threat. Susan smiled. That's because there are always threats, even if we can't see them. Earth is filled with bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms. Our bodies are constantly defending against them. The scientist looked up, alarmed. You have microscopic predators inside your bodies? Alan stepped in to explain. Not exactly predators, but yes, humans share our planet with countless tiny organisms. Some are harmful, but many are beneficial or neutral. The Zarnaxian scientist seemed both disturbed and fascinated. And these organisms, they are everywhere on your world? Everywhere, Susan confirmed. In the air, water, soil, on our skin, in our digestive systems. A human body contains more bacterial cells than human cells. This revelation seemed to shock the Zarnaxians even more than the information about pets had. You not only live alongside visible predators, Ambassador Zixivor said slowly, but your bodies are battlegrounds for microscopic warfare. Susan gave Paul a small pill for his allergies and turned back to the ambassador. It's not always warfare. Many of these microorganisms help us. The bacteria in our intestines help us digest food. Some microbes on our skin protect us from harmful ones. The ambassador blinked several times, processing this information. You have formed alliances with invisible creatures as well. In a way, yes, Susan agreed. And sometimes we deliberately introduce beneficial microbes into our bodies. Deliberately? The ambassador seemed unable to comprehend this. Many human foods contain living bacteria, Susan explained. Yogurt, cheese, pickled vegetables, fermented drinks. We cultivate specific bacteria for these foods. The Zarnaxian in the blue robe made a sound that might have been disgust. You consume living microorganisms intentionally? Alan nodded. It's been part of human food culture for thousands of years. Long before we understood what bacteria were, we knew these foods were good for us. Ambassador Zixivor turned to his fellow Zarnaxians and spoke rapidly in their own language. The discussion seemed intense, with several of them gesturing toward the humans. Finally, the ambassador turned back to Alan. Commander Grant, I must admit that my people find this aspect of human biology disturbing. On our world, we maintain strict biological containment. The idea of willingly hosting other organisms is alien to us. Alan smiled gently. That's understandable. Our worlds evolved very differently. Earth has always been a place of complex biological relationships. Humans evolved in that environment, so we adapted to it. The ambassador nodded slowly. Yes, your Deathworld has shaped your species in ways we are only beginning to understand. Paul, feeling better after taking the medication, asked, What about your world? Do you have pets or work animals of any kind? The ambassador's expression changed, showing what might have been embarrassment. We have some small aquatic creatures we keep in closed systems for observation, but nothing that lives freely in our dwellings. Certainly nothing with teeth or claws. After a short break, Ambassador Zixivor invited the human delegation to experience something from Zarnaxian culture. They were led to a large circular room with comfortable seating arranged in a circle. We would like to share with you our traditional hunting simulation, the ambassador explained. It is a virtual experience that recreates the few predator encounters in our evolutionary history. Alan and his team took their seats while the Zarnaxians operated controls on the walls. The lights dimmed, and suddenly the room transformed. The humans found themselves in a forest of strange blue-green plants. The air looked misty, and 2 small moons hung in the sky. "This is what our world looked like 1 million years ago," the ambassador's voice explained from somewhere nearby. "Watch for the greatest predator our ancestors faced." The humans waited expectantly. After several minutes, they noticed movement in the underbrush. Something was approaching slowly. Very slowly. Finally, a creature emerged. It was about the size of a large house cat with 6 legs, smooth gray skin, and 2 eye stalks. It moved deliberately, step by careful step. "That's their greatest predator?" Ben whispered to Kate. The creature continued its slow approach, stopping frequently to wave its eye stalks around. When it finally reached a position about 10 feet from where the humans were seated, it crouched down and waited. "It hunts by ambush," the ambassador's voice explained. "It can remain motionless for days, waiting for prey to come within striking distance." "But it moves so slowly," Lisa said. "Couldn't you just walk away from it?" There was a pause before the ambassador responded. "Yes, that was the primary defense. But if one was unaware of its presence, it could strike." As if on cue, the creature suddenly extended a long, thin tongue that shot out about 3 feet. Then it withdrew the tongue and began its slow retreat. The simulation ended and the lights came back on. The humans looked at each other, trying to hide their disappointment. "That was interesting," Alan said diplomatically. "Thank you for sharing your cultural experience with us." Ambassador Zixivor seemed pleased. "This predator caused great fear among our ancestors. Our oldest stories tell of its terrible patience and swift tongue." Alan nodded respectfully. "Each world's dangers shape its people. That's why cultural exchange is so valuable. It helps us understand each other better. Would you be willing to share some examples of Earth predators in action?" the ambassador asked. "Perhaps recordings of your hunting activities." Commander Grant glanced at his team, who nodded encouragingly. "We'd be happy to. Officer Rivera has prepared some footage that might interest you." Nick stood up and connected his tablet to the room's display system. "I've compiled videos of some human recreational activities that involve Earth's natural challenges." The first video showed rock climbers scaling a sheer cliff face, hundreds of feet above the ground. "These humans are climbing for enjoyment," Nick explained. "There is no food or resource at the top. They do this purely for the experience and challenge." The Zarnaxians watched in silence as the climbers navigated the dangerous terrain using only small handholds in the rock. The next video showed whitewater rafting, with humans in small boats being tossed about by powerful river rapids. "These waters could easily drown someone," Nick commented. "Yet humans pay money for the opportunity to navigate them." The ambassador's vertical pupils widened. "They seek out these dangers? Voluntarily?" "Many humans enjoy testing themselves against nature," Alan explained. "It's part of our culture." The next video showed something different. A person handling a large snake, allowing it to wrap around their arms and neck. "Some humans keep reptiles as pets," Nick said. "This is a python. It's a constrictor that kills by squeezing its prey." One of the Zarnaxians made a sound of alarm. "That creature could easily kill the human handling it." Nick nodded. "It could, but it's well fed and properly handled. Some people keep venomous snakes too, though that requires special permits and enclosures." The final video showed a diver in a cage with enormous great white sharks swimming nearby. "These are some of the ocean's top predators," Nick explained. "They can smell blood from great distances and have hundreds of sharp teeth. Yet humans seek them out to observe them up close." When the videos ended, the room was silent. The Zarnaxians seemed to be processing what they had seen. Finally, Ambassador Zixivor spoke. "Your species does not merely tolerate danger. You appear to pursue it. This is difficult for us to comprehend." Alan smiled. "Perhaps that's what happens when you evolve on a death world. Danger becomes not just something to survive, but something to understand and sometimes even enjoy." The final diplomatic session took place the next day. The human delegation entered the main conference room to find the Zarnaxians already waiting. Ambassador Zixvor stood at the head of the table, looking more formal than before in an elaborate silver robe. "Commander Grant, representatives of Earth," the ambassador began. "My team and I have spent much time discussing what we have learned about humanity and your world." Alan nodded respectfully. "We appreciate the time you've taken to understand us better. Understanding is precisely why we are here," the ambassador continued. "And I must tell you that our understanding of your species has changed dramatically since our first meeting." The ambassador activated a display in the center of the table. A complex chart appeared, showing various classifications and categories. We classified Earth as a Class 5 Deathworld. That classification remains accurate based on the physical characteristics of your planet." The ambassador paused, then continued. "However, we have created a new classification for humanity itself." The chart changed to show a new category highlighted in red at the very top. "We now recognize humanity as a Category Apex species," Ambassador Zixvor explained. "This is a new designation in our system, created specifically for your kind." "What does that mean exactly?" Alan asked. "It means that you have not merely survived your harsh environment. You have achieved mastery over it in ways we had not thought possible." The ambassador's voice held a note of respect. "You have formed symbiotic relationships with creatures that should, by all logical measures, be your enemies. You have harnessed the danger of your world and found value in it." Kate, who had whiskers, in her lap again, smiled. "We've never really thought about it that way. We just adapted to our world as any species would." "No," the ambassador said firmly. "Not as any species would. The usual response to environmental threats is avoidance or defensive adaptation. Your species chose a different path. Engagement, partnership, even affection for the very things that could harm you." The ambassador stepped away from the table and approached Kate and Whiskers. With only slight hesitation, he reached out and gently touched the cat's fur. Whiskers looked up lazily but didn't seem bothered. "My people have avoided danger throughout our evolution," the ambassador said softly. "We built our civilization on the principle of minimizing risk. But you humans have built yours on understanding risk, even embracing it when necessary." Alan watched with satisfaction as the ambassador stroked Whiskers, who had started purring. "Does this mean our worlds can work together despite our differences?" Ambassador Zixvor straightened up and returned to his position. "It means more than that, Commander. The Zarnaxian Confederation would like to formally propose an alliance with Earth." The humans exchanged surprised glances. "We are particularly interested in human expertise in adaptability, crisis management, and yes, even your understanding of Earth's creatures," the ambassador continued. "In return, we offer our advanced technology in space travel, energy production, and medicine." Alan smiled broadly. "That sounds like an excellent beginning, Ambassador. I'm confident my government will respond positively to your proposal." The formal meeting continued for another hour, with both sides discussing the details of future cooperation. When it was time for the human delegation to return to their ship, the ambassador accompanied them to the airlock. As they prepared to leave, they noticed a young Zarnaxian scientist kneeling beside Kate, cautiously petting Whiskers. The cat was purring loudly, clearly enjoying the attention. "It appears not all of us fear your predators," Ambassador Zixvor observed with what might have been amusement. "Cats have that effect on people even across species, apparently," Kate said, smiling at the young scientist. As the humans boarded their ship, Ambassador Zixvor handed Alan a data tablet. "A formal request from our science division. They wish to visit Earth to study the human-animal bond firsthand." Alan took the tablet and glanced at it. "They want to experience puppy therapy?" The ambassador's vertical pupils widened slightly. "Yes, several of our scientists are particularly interested in this concept. It sounds simultaneously terrifying and fascinating." Alan laughed. "Trust me, Ambassador, once they experience a room full of puppies, they'll understand humanity a lot better." As the Eagle detached from the Zarnaxian ship and began its journey back to Earth, the human delegation gathered on the bridge. Their mission had been more successful than any of them had imagined possible. Who would have thought, Kate said, stroking whiskers in her lap, that our pets would be the key to our first alien alliance? Alan looked out at the stars. Maybe that's the real lesson here. On a dangerous world like Earth, survival isn't just about being tough-o.